From holiday gatherings to setting goals for the new year, a clinical psychologist is sharing her advice today on how to try to keep family dynamics positive and stress levels low during the holiday season. Joining me now is Dr. Molly Burrets to help us be more intentional going forward. Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Good morning.
All right, so what are some of the biggest stressors that people face during holiday gatherings, and why do they feel amplified? You know, just everything sort of touches the nerve this time of year.
Okay, well, everybody knows the typical stresses of the holidays, which means there's more travel, there's more spending, there's more end of the year work deadlines, there's more time with family. But the difference about the holidays is that at the holidays, everyone is going through those additional stressors all at the same time. So there is this collective sense of stress that we experience as a group of people. And so there aren't really necessarily those people who are less stressed out and can kind of carry the load for others because everyone's under a lot of pressure. But another stressor that people tend not to think about when they're getting together with their families are their expectations of what's going to happen. And our expectations kind of set the tone and can really create a scenario where we can end up be disappointing if our expectations are unrealistic.
So what's the best way to respond to that? Even before you get to this gathering, is it maybe meditating? Is it just maybe saying to yourself, I'm not going to let this person trigger me? What's the best way to respond to maybe some of these passive-aggressive comments from family members?
That's a great question. So all those suggestions that you made are good ones. I also encourage people to just remember that even though the holidays are magical, they don't magically turn us into different people. So whatever concerns or problematic behavior you have with your family, they're likely going to be present and there when you meet with your family. So try to just remind yourself of the problematic dynamics that sometimes exist. Don't expect people to be on their best behavior. Expect them to act like they usually do. That will help you adjust your expectations and prepare for what's to come. Now, as far as people who speak passive aggressively, I like to encourage people to use a tactic that I call acting opposite. So the opposite of passive aggressive is direct and non-aggressive. So if somebody makes a passive-aggressive comment to you, you want to just address it directly, but in a very calm, not aggressive way. So you can just say, what did you mean by that? And that usually disarms someone when they're forced to kind of face with the truth of what they're actually saying.
All right, but throw alcohol into the mix, and I mean, things go left, right? I mean, let's face it, that's probably one of the bigger triggers, right? And so someone makes what could be a benign comment, but you take it 1,000 because you're already feeling a little, something from this person. How should you react to that? What are some of the practical strategies beyond just, slamming the table and walking away?
Yeah. So I really encourage people to think about what kind of alcohol and recreations they take part in, and depending who they're around. You know the people where there is potential for conflict. And when you're going to be around those people, I think there is a tendency for people to try to loosen up and maybe use alcohol to calm the situation. It often has the opposite effect. So I encourage people when they're going to be around problematic people that they might have conflict with, that's the time to go easy on the alcohol.
Dr. Burrets, what do you think about families who say they write out rules before an event so that maybe people see it ahead of time and adhere? Do you think that's a good idea, or might it actually have the opposite effect of someone saying, okay, now I feel like you're picking on me before I've even gotten there?
Yeah, I rarely see that go well. I mean, usually if people need to be that rigid about the behavioral expectations, that probably means there's a high likelihood that something is going to go wrong. So in those situations, I recommend to people that they choose to limit their family time. So you don't have to spend the entire holiday weekend with your family. Maybe you just want to go over for dinner. You don't have to necessarily travel for an entire week. Maybe you want to travel for 3 days. Right. People tend to be able to be on better behavior if they only have to do it in short bursts of time.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but Dr. Burrets, where can folks get more information from you?
My Instagram handle is Dr. Molly Burrets.
All right. Thank you for helping us weather this holiday season with some family members who sometimes can be trying. We appreciate your tips and input this morning.
Sure thing.